Hey, everybody, happy Wednesday. It's time for us to dive into our weekly challenge call. And today, the topic that we're going to be discussing is creatine. So, we're going to talk about what creatine is, how it can benefit us during our daily activity and our exercise, who it's most beneficial for, and then how we can implement it into our daily routine. So, I actually created a little slideshow to overview creatine and what we're going to be talking about today. So, let me share my screen for everybody. All right. So creatine, what is it? Who should be taking it and why? Creatine is actually a natural source of ATP or an energy that our body uses to go through daily activity and exercise. ATP is basically the energy that initiates a muscle's contraction and helps it literally flex and tighten up. So I like to think of creatine, like I said, it's a source of energy. It's a little bit different than other supplements such as protein, carbohydrates, and fats. It's not broken down in the body in the same way. So I like to think of carb loading whenever I think about creatine. If you've ever seen a distance athlete or a football player comes to mind, the day before a big race or a big game, they want to make sure that they have enough energy to perform at their top level during that game. So the day before, you'll typically see a common practice is carb loading with a plate of spaghetti or a plate of pasta, just to make sure that they have enough carbohydrates in their body the next day whenever they go into that strenuous activity. So our creatine system is the same way. Our body uses different stores of energy for different activities. You might see a distance athlete with a high fat content in their diet because that's the source of energy that they're utilizing during their specific activity. For us that are going into the gym regularly and performing short bouts of explosive, intense movements, typically about anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds, maybe a little bit more per set, but you're going to be utilizing your phosphocreatine system as a primary source of energy during those movements. Now, I can dig a little bit deeper and I'll explain this, but we want to make sure the same way that an athlete is loading their body with carbohydrates, that we're also loading our body with creatine so that whenever we're utilizing that phosphocreatine system, we have enough energy available. So, like I was saying, while carbohydrates are a very important source of energy, and you'll absolutely be using those during your workouts, the first 10 to 12 seconds of any activity utilizes the phosphocreatine system. So that's where creatine becomes very beneficial for us. As you exercise for longer periods of time, going into, think 20, 30, 1 minute durations of exercise, that's when we're going to start to utilize more aerobic systems and utilize things like oxygen, carbohydrates, and then our fats as sources of energy. So this means that creatine, like I said before, is very important as we start out our shorter bouts of exercise. So whenever we're doing things like bench press, whenever we're doing things like squats, literally almost anything that you can think of on the board, med ball slams, we're going to be using those phosphocreatine stores. It's going to help you create quick burst energy. It's going to help increase your strength without affecting the ability to exercise for longer durations of time. So whenever we think about carb loading in general for sources of energy, we've been talking a lot about having a proper amount of carbohydrates, protein, grams of fat throughout your day. So we want to be conscious of how much carbohydrates we're actually putting into our body, especially if our goal is revolved around toning, defining our muscle, losing weight. We don't want to be eating too many carbs and then canceling out all the hard work that we're putting in. So what I'm getting at is creatine is a great way to increase your energy and really your just activity performance whenever you're in the gym without going into a nutritional level that's going to cause you to take a few steps backwards. It's definitely beneficial for a lot more than just power athletes. So whenever I talk about increasing your explosiveness, increasing your strength, and just your potential to perform exercise, it's not just for those explosive activities. In my opinion, whenever we talk about who should be taking creatine, other than a select few special population, and we'll talk about that, I think the majority of people should be taking creatine. It's one of the most widely researched substances that are out there as far as supplement goes, and it's been deemed safe for the majority of people. So I think almost everybody that is following a consistent and healthy exercise and nutritional regimen would benefit from taking creatine. Like I said, studies have shown that it's beneficial for the majority of people outside of those who are pregnant and breastfeeding, those who have diabetes, kidney disease, liver disease, or bipolar disorders. People that are dealing with any of those issues should definitely seek advice from a healthcare professional before they implement this into their routine. But for the majority of other people that are following a regular exercise regimen, it's going to benefit you. And it's not only for beneficial in our physical performance in the gym. There's actually a lot of studies being conducted right now that have shown creatine to be more beneficial for those aged over 60 and improving their brain function. Research has shown that it improves your short-term memory, your reasoning and judgment, the neuroprotection of our brain cells to make sure that they stay safe from damage as we just go throughout our life. There's actually even studies currently being conducted to determine if creatine is beneficial for cognitive disabilities such as dementia. So with that being said, like I said earlier, we want to make sure that if you are in that special population, that you're not just adding this into your diet, because there could potentially be negative effects if you aren't careful with what you put into your body. So make sure that you contact a healthcare professional if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, have diabetes, kidney disease, liver disease, or bipolar disorders. So a lot of you are probably wondering what is actually going to start happening whenever I take creatine. We get a lot of questions about it in the gym. How am I going to feel? How is my body going to respond to it? There's a stigma that creatine causes you to gain water weight. And if our goal is to lose weight in the first place, is it going to be beneficial for me? So we'll talk about that a little bit. What will happen whenever I start taking creatine? First of all, it's going to speed up your muscle recovery between workouts, but also between your sets and your reps. So it's not just for recovery between sessions. Literally, while you're in a session recovering between sets, it's going to be benefiting you. It helps activate the satellite cells in your muscles that help to repair those micro tears. Whenever we exercise, we're creating very microscopic tears within our muscle fibers, and those tears regrow from protein synthesis, produce more muscle at a higher quality. So basically, we're breaking our muscle down to build it back stronger. That repair happens from our satellite cells and our receptors going through protein synthesis and repairing that muscle. This just makes those satellite cells more receptive, and they do their job better and more efficiently. So during exercise, you may feel more endurance as you go from set to set. You might not feel as fatigued at the end of the set, just simply because we have more energy to tap into. It increases your anabolic hormones. So the hormones in your body that initiate muscle growth in the first place. You can think of things like human growth hormone, testosterone, estrogen. They're all really important for building up muscle and increasing your strength for both males and females. So whenever I throw words around like testosterone and human growth hormone, they're very important for females as well as males. Also, it's going to boost our water content in our muscle fibers. So creatine is literally hydrating your muscles. It's going to increase your rate of muscle growth while keeping the muscles from being dehydrated. So if we ever deal with things like cramping, this is also going to benefit you in that area as well. Really just hydrates the muscles and makes sure that they're able to perform to the best of their ability. So what else will happen when I start taking creatine? Whenever you think about adding water into your muscles and then becoming more hydrated, naturally, this is going to mean that our body may carry more water weight than if we weren't taking creatine. And this is from proper hydration. So in my opinion, I think it's really important for people to understand this concept, especially for those with the goal of weight loss and you want to see that number on the scale go down. Don't let creatine, the initial gain of water mass, stop you from seeing the full benefits that come out of it. Don't let it scare you away from taking creatine. Think about this. If I have a goal of weight loss and every week I'm weighing myself, and before a workout, I decide that I'm feeling dehydrated and I want to make sure that I go into my next session hydrated. So I drink a bottle of water. This bottle of water weighs 16.9 fluid ounces. So if I drink this water, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to perform better throughout my exercise session. I'm doing a good thing for my body. I'm literally hydrating myself. If I drink this water, I'm going to feel better than if I didn't drink this water. Now, if I step onto a scale, I'm going to be a little more than 1 pound heavier than when I was before drinking this water. It's important to know that mentally, that water is not going to increase your body fat percentage. I know that's obvious saying it, but I feel that a lot of people, whenever they step onto that scale after consuming their lunch throughout the day or their breakfast and their fluids, you're obviously going to be a little bit heavier halfway through the day after consuming those meals and liquids than if you didn't consume them. If we didn't consume breakfast and we didn't consume lunch, we may weigh for that specific moment a little bit less than if we did, but we're not going to be able to perform in our workouts. Ultimately, we're not going to do what our body needs to repair and recover and build up that lean muscle mass that's going to lead to a higher metabolism that's going to allow us to ultimately lose that weight. So what I'm getting at is try not to think creatine is the same way as drinking this bottle of water. Will it initially increase our weight by a couple pounds by hydrating us? Yes, possibly. But is it going to allow us to perform better throughout our daily activities and exercises, bringing in better results that's going to allow our body to respond even better than if we weren't taking creatine? Absolutely. So I think that it's really important for those, even with the goal of weight loss and toning, not to be scared of creatine because it's not necessarily for bulking people up. It's very, very beneficial to increasing your muscle mass, which is going to lead to a higher metabolism and higher basal metabolic rate so that you can burn more calories throughout your day. Like I said, if I was to step on that scale and I'm a little bit more hydrated and heavier, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing for your body. So we can dig deeper if you have specific questions about this and your body and what you can expect individually to happen when taking creatine. But I recommend whether your goal is to increase muscle mass and go into more of a bulking phase, or if you're looking to lose weight and tone down and just reduce your body fat percentage, it's very, very beneficial. And I encourage those of you with those goals to start implementing creatine as well. So with all of this being said, we know that creatine is widely researched and it's essentially safe for most people. It's going to benefit us in almost every aspect of our lifting journey. How do I start implementing it into my daily process? I know that there's a lawnmower going outside, so I'm going to pause this for one moment so that we can stay on track here. Okay, guys? All right, guys. Now that we got the garage doors shut and we can hear again, let's continue. So how do I start supplementing with creatine now that I know all the benefits it's going to do for me? Most people actually get a natural source of creatine from their foods such as red meat, seafood, your dairy, milk products. You get about 1 to 2 grams daily naturally from those products. So if we are currently dairy free or following a vegetarian vegan diet, we obviously won't be getting our sources from this. Our body also produces 1 to 2 grams daily from our liver, kidney, and pancreas production. So for, like I mentioned, individuals that are currently dairy free, if you're following a vegetarian or vegan diet, creatine is going to be even more beneficial for you because we're not getting those sources from our daily nutrition. It's recommended for individuals, like I said, with a regular exercise routine to supplement with 5 grams of creatine monohydrate daily. Now, whenever you go into any supplement store or if you're looking online, you're going to see a bunch of different products of just different types of creatine. All of the research that I'm talking about that has been so widely studied is mostly done on micronized. Whoa, can we see this? I'll send a picture of this over, but micronized creatine monohydrate. So you're going to see, like I said, a bunch of different forms of creatine out there. If you start to do your research and read the labels on them, some will claim to be utilized by the body better than others. There's a bunch of different gimmicks out there. And if I'm being completely honest, the usually the cheapest form of micronized creatine monohydrate is going to be exactly what you need, and you don't need anything more than that. Me personally, this is not an advertisement. I don't get paid by them. I personally take Optimum Nutrition's micronized creatine powder. It also comes in a capsule form. There is other ways, there is other brands out there that are just as good as Optimum Nutrition. I just know that this is cheap. I'm not overpaying for what I'm getting, and I trust the company. So if you have questions about what brand you would like to try out, just talk to one of us coaches and we'll steer you in the right direction and make sure that you're not making the wrong choices. Yeah, so there's just like the nutrition industry, there's a lot of companies out there that will fluff their explanation of what their product does. At the end of the day, micronized creatine monohydrate is going to be what's most beneficial for you. And that essentially is my overview of creatine today. So, like I said, creatine is not just for power athletes. It's not just for those who are looking to become more explosive and build more muscle mass. It's also for those who are looking to lose weight, for those who are looking to tone down, and just for those that are looking to live a generally healthy lifestyle. If you want to make sure that if longevity is on your checklist of goals and you want to make sure that we live a long, healthy life and we just function throughout our daily activities, we can take care of ourselves without assistance. We can make decisions for ourselves. It's also going to benefit us there. Like I was saying earlier, it's not just for those that are looking to increase their muscle mass and improve their physical capabilities. It helps us think better. It helps our mental cognition. For those aged over 60, it's going to make sure that we are reasoning and able to just think clearly and have a clear head longer throughout our life. It's going to make sure that we're not a victim of atrophy, which is literally the disease of losing muscle as you age. We want to make sure that we're maintaining that muscle as long as we can throughout our life so that we can do these daily activities. Think about what we do in here, and I know I'm kind of like going on a tangent, but whenever we squat, that's essentially getting up and down out of a chair. If we want to be able to not use assistance handlebars and walkers whenever we're getting up, we're doing marches and we're doing our farmer carries in here. Everything that we do in this gym, it translates into our daily activities. So whether we're somebody on the younger side of our life and we're looking to just improve our physical capabilities, that's going to keep leading as you go throughout your life. Right now, it might be a specific number that you're looking to squat and you have a goal, but down the road one day, we want to make sure that we're able to continue to squat for the rest of our life. But I'll reel myself back in. I'll digress here. Like I was saying, creatine is going to be beneficial for almost everybody. Unless you're in that special population, which I highly encourage you to seek out advice from a healthcare professional or come at least talk to one of us coaches so we can steer you in the right direction. But I encourage you all to start researching creatine yourself, ask us coaches questions about it, and if you should implement it into your daily routine. I hope this was beneficial for you guys. Next week, I already have a topic in my head that we're going to be talking about based around nutrition, and I'll lay that out as we get a little bit closer to it. But I encourage you all to start submitting questions as well, so that if there's anything specific on your minds, we can touch on them every Wednesday. I'll be sure to record this call like I did today, put it into the app for any of you that weren't able to make it on the call. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.